a announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Upson. Did want to make the board aware and our community aware that we did lose an employee of Jefferson County Schools over the weekend. We learned this today. Michelle Wilson, the cafeteria manager at Charlestown Middle School, passed away over the weekend. She also served as a cook and an ECAT as well for Jefferson County, and we would ask for a moment of silence in honor and recognition of Ms. Wilson. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. Next up, you should join us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God.
At this point, there are no recognitions. So next up will be the action on approval of minutes of the regular board meeting held October 13, 2025. Ms. Lauren.
For the meeting,
Let's go ahead.
make a motion to approve.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held October 13, 2025?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving or is there any discussion? Okay. We add it.
So that it goes in the minutes correctly, that was Carmen Bratton making the motion and Lori
The
Ogden.
second was Ogden.
Second.
Is there a discussion now? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of the regular board meeting held October 13, 2025, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up will be citizens' comments. Before we begin the comments, just want to let everyone know maximum time for individual speakers shall not exceed 3 minutes. Speakers should take into account the rules of common courtesy and refrain from making harassing comments or personal attacks on employees, staff members, individuals, students, parents, or members of the board. At no time should a speaker reference a specific individual by name when speaking on an issue of concern involving staff members or students. Also, I'd like to point out that the information provided during the public comment is very important to us, and we ask that you provide a written, printed, or email copy of the comments to Ms. Lisa White. First up will be Victoria Watson. You can go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Victoria Wasson, and I'm the parent of 2 children who attend Blue Ridge Elementary. I'm here tonight not just for my kids, but for every child, teacher, and family in our district who's feeling the effects of what's happening in our schools. I prefer to work in the background to support, but this has gone on for too long to stay silent. Over the summer, our elementary school has lost 12 teachers and at least 7 other staff members. We have lost 2 more during the school year. That's roughly 20 people who poured their hearts into our children, gone. What's even more telling is that not one of them left for higher pay, even though they could drive 30 to 40 minutes in any direction and make 50 to 75% more than they do here. They left because they felt unheard, unsupported, and stretched beyond what is fair or sustainable. Our teachers love our children. They deserve a district that loves and supports them in return. We have come before this board at least 4 times to express these concerns. We were promised a town hall with the principal to discuss solutions, yet 2 months later, nothing has happened. Your own code of ethics states in line number 8, support the employment of persons best qualified to serve our school staff and insist on regular and impartial evaluation of all staff. And in line number 11, remember that the first and greatest concern must be the educational welfare of the students attending the public schools. Right now, we're failing to live up to both. Our children who have 504 and IEP plans, children who legally require support, just started having their minutes recorded after an entire quarter of school. That means they've already lost 25% of their services for the year. If my child misses even a few days of school, I have to pay from my own pocket for a doctor's note. But who is being held accountable for the days and weeks these children's needs went unmet? We're told to trust the system, but how can we when the promises keep getting broken? Our children cannot afford more delays, and our teachers cannot carry this burden alone. We're asking again for transparency, accountability, and action. Please hold the promised town hall. Please show us a plan to retain our teachers and ensure every child receives the education and support they are legally and morally entitled to. Because if your first and greatest concern truly is the educational welfare of our students, then the time to prove that is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ms. Sarah Brandenburg.
Good evening, members of the board. I come here again for a fourth time seeking answers to a simple question. Why are teachers and staff leaving Blue Ridge Elementary at an alarming rate? This is the question that so many parents at Blue Ridge are begging to be answered. It has been 2 months since I first spoke before the board, and we still don't know the exact number of teachers and staff that left Blue Ridge last year. It has been 2 months since I first spoke before the board, and we don't even know if exit interviews have been started, let alone completed. It has been 2 months since I first spoke before the board, and in that time, we lost a speech therapist who only lasted a single day. And just last week, we lost a teacher with 20 years of experience who told me herself that it was her dream job to become our school librarian. So I ask the board again, please investigate and tell myself and all the other parents at Blue Ridge why this unprecedented amount of turnover is happening at our school and causing so much instability in our children. We feel like we are being left in the dark when it comes to our children's education. Please help us understand why this is happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Henry Vesperman.
Good evening. My name is Henry Vesperman, and I am a junior at Washington High School who is taking AP classes this year. I'm here to speak about the board's decision to end their program that was covering a portion of the AP exam fees for Jefferson County students. Cutting this program that covered part of our costs affects both myself and nearly all of my friends and their families. While I understand that there were kids last year who did not take their exams and after having part of their fee covered, it is completely unreasonable to punish our advanced students based on the actions of a few forgetful kids. Washington High School is already under scrutiny for its poor performance on AP exams, and preventing students from taking these exams does nothing but decrease the chances for Washington High School to improve their scores. Additionally, informing students of this chance only 2 weeks prior to the due date of AP exam fees puts a completely impassable and unforeseen burden on families, especially during the midst of a government shutdown with countless families that have no active source of income. Removing support from advanced students at our schools and disincentivizing students from taking these exams is not beneficial to anyone, be it our teachers, our student body, or the future of education in our county. Speaking on behalf of all AP students at our school and Jefferson High School, I plead with the board to please reconsider your decision and find the funds to allow us to fulfill our potentials and take these exams.
Thank you. Next is Katie Snyder. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, board, for seeing me again. I was here last week. I'm just here to continue to push for Blue Ridge Elementary's transparency to students and teachers. The growing concern might seem small if you see just a few parents each day, each meeting. And I know we have some time before the next meeting comes, but I just want to let you know that the three of us here, or the numbers that you've heard, are growing. And so if it will help for you guys to realize, I just want to let you know that we can make sure that we have the information that you need if you're still lacking something. So I just want to make sure that if we're not getting transparency because the information's not there, then ask, because we all have the concerns. It seems like I just want to know that you have the concerns along with us, that it's not being blindsided. It's not just like all under wraps. I don't know. It just feels very shady at sometimes, and we want to help you, but we want you to help us. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is a consent agenda items.
Good evening. I do have a couple modifications that I need to make to this evening's agenda that's presented to you for consideration. The first section for the superintendent's recommendations, underneath the separation section, I need to make an addition to number 31 and 32, that those resignations should be noted as break-in contracts. The first section of recommendations, the superintendent's recommendations, not the sign-offs. Page, your front to back, so it'd be page 3. In the separation section, item 31 and 32. Thank you. Not the superintendent's sign-offs, just the superintendent's recommendations.
Is that your only recommendation?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented with the addition to 31 and 32 as a break-in contract?
I motion.
Thank you, Ms. Braden. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Joy. Is there any discussion?
I just had a quick question about the bus driver training positions. Are those positions that, because I see a substantial amount of them, I'm assuming we have that many positions to fill as bus drivers?
Yep.
or-
It's a grow your own program for our bus operators. So that gets them, as you know, with become a bus operator, there's a lot of requirements for that. So that gets them started and able to grow them into official bus operators.
Okay, yeah,
As
and
they
I
complete the program. So it's a pathway.
looked at that before. Okay, good. So
Yeah.
that enables them to be, like their employee date can start while they're training.
It wouldn't be their official seniority date because you have to be full-time bus operator for that full-time seniority to start, but it just allows them to start to receive some compensation while they're going through a training program.
Okay, that's good.
We started that this year. That's a new program.
Any further discussion? None. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda items as presented with the addition to numbers 31 and 32 as a break-in contract, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next up is presentations and reports. This update, we will first begin with the Safety Center Functions Plan.
Good evening. Operations has several updates for you this evening. The first is the Safety Centers Plan. We did have scheduled a child nutrition update for this evening, but Mr. Bites is under the weather, so we're going to reschedule that for a future update. I appreciate your understanding. So as we talked about, we were going to present a multifaceted plan for the Jefferson County School Safety and Operations Center. And the plans include secure meeting and consultation space. We have already used that numerous times. I'm sorry, that's the wrong presentation, gentlemen. This is the 3-pager. We've already used that several times for parent meetings and different kind of meetings, and has proved very valuable. We're using it for centralized security and communications. That will be used for proactive security camera monitoring of our schools across the district. Eventually, it'll be used as a hub for dispatching emergency communication. We use our radios, which are very effective. They're in every school. In a matter of seconds, we could put our schools on secures, holds, lockdowns in just a matter of seconds. Crisis command and coordination. So in times of crises, we would use that as a command center with other agencies joining us, such as law enforcement, Homeland Security, FBI if needed, et cetera. The facility will be used for logistics, records, and storage. It's going to be a primary site to store our safety materials, including reunification materials, professional development and training, sensitive interviews and secure office space. There are many times that HR has to conduct interviews that are private and should be held private, and that will serve as a space for that as well. For our facility plan, very little is going to be required to adjust the facility. We are going to do a little bit of painting, and you can see the cost there on page 3, $700. Ceiling tile replacement, just of old damaged tiles. We already have ceiling tiles in stock at maintenance. Replacing the exterior front doors at a cost of $14,626. And then construction of a secure entryway into the building, which would be $800 just for lumber and drywall. So that is our plan for the facility. And I know that it will grow and prove very useful to the district as time goes on.
Can we ask questions?
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
I do have a question. So the stuff that was going to be donated, was that withdrawn or something?
No, there's still going to be a donation. I think we're still deciding what to do with the donation. Basically, we had a lot of doors. So the cost you see 4 doors isn't actually 4 doors. In renovating Rise, we had some doors that were available. So to go into this building, it needs just adjustments. And that's what that will go toward, is labor, not the actual purchase of doors.
Okay, so I thought that you all said that the lumber was being donated from
Yeah.
someplace.
When I asked how much this would cost, we were told that everything would be donated.
No, we said we had everything in the existing budget. We're still expecting about 5,000 in donations. So if we're able to apply it to this, we can and will.
This will have to watch the video.
That's fine, but
Any other discussion?
Appreciate the transparency and trying to figure all this out. So thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. If there's no discussion, we don't need to have a motion or anything. Yeah. So for all intent and purposes, please continue and go forward with your plan.
thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Upston. Next is transportation efficiency indicators. As Dr. Bishop spoke to you about in a previous meeting, the West Virginia Department of Transportation, the WVDE, has applied transportation efficiency indicators this year, of which 65% of counties did not pass, Jefferson being one of them. My first slide just shows the chart that's applicable out of policy 2322. It provides a summary of the efficiency standard, and it discusses the county evaluating efficiency and effectiveness of, of the transportation services consistent with state laws and policies. The next slide says that we will have compliance data from each county, and they'll be collected through each year during annual collections and on-site fleet inspections. And that there are efficiency standards, which I'm going to go over with you, that tells whether or not a county board of education transportation department needs technical assistance. So this comes directly from the WVDE, and I have marked what was evaluated versus what was supposed to be evaluated. There are 10 factors that were to be evaluated. There used to be 11, and they assign points to these. The transportation efficiency indicators are, and we'll skip to number 2. Number 1 used to be bus operator certification data, which is quite lengthy. Our department always had a perfect score in that. That is no longer evaluated. The second thing that's evaluated is the bus defect rate corresponding to mechanical conditions is below the state average for primary and secondary defects. And this is by inspector. So I want to take a minute just to explain how this ranking is done, because it's going to become relevant when you see our score. Our ranking of defects is per bus, and we have a state inspector that inspected last year 13 counties, plus the Romney School of the Deaf and Blind. So he takes the average of the counties, and if you are not at the average defect rate and you are above it, you do not get awarded any points for having a defect rate above that average. So we are scored with counties like Hardy, Grant, Morgan. For example, Morgan has 28 buses. So their bus per mechanic ratio is lower than our bus to mechanic ratio. We currently have 4 mechanics and 105 buses, which puts their ratio somewhere about 26.5 buses per mechanic. And these bus drivers are driving buses every day, morning and afternoon. So that being said, along with the mechanic defect rate is a bus defect rate, which corresponds to the drivers. That also, for things like cleanliness, exits working properly, et cetera, is done by primary and secondary rates by our inspector. And those defects fall back to the bus driver. Number 4 is preventive maintenance inspections. And those have to comply with policy 4336. The 5th component is that transportation personnel attend training and conferences. The points are broken down as follows. There are 6 points for attending the annual conference, 2 for attending each of the state director meetings fall and spring. Number 6 is that the county maintains inventory of bus parts. Number 7, the percentage of spare buses to regular fleet is within the recommended range. Number 8 is timely submissions of ridership data. And number 9 is timely submissions of mileage data. The next criteria is timely submissions of fleet data. And then the last criteria, students exceeding time guidelines and illegal passing surveys are completed and submitted on time. So any county board of ed receiving less than 70% of the possible points is identified as needing assistance. The nature of the technical assistance needed by the county depends on the specific areas of deficiencies identified during the review process. There used to be a total of 130 points, but we were actually ranked on 105 points. So we had to have 76 points to pass. So it is important to note, I have done a lot of talking with the state, that the points for the mechanic and driver defects are an all or nothing category. To receive the points, the county has to be below the average, like I told you. And if they're not below that average, then they get no points at all. So you either get 25 points or you get 0 points. And as you'll see in our score up there, we were awarded 0 points. Our average was 0.58, which is under 1. Anything under 1 is good, but because the state average was 0.34 and we were at 0.58, we didn't get any of the points. The same with the bus driver defects, which were also ranked at 0 and were all or nothing points. And those points were, I want to say they were 0.65, just off the top of my head. I have it written down here somewhere, 0.65. So because we weren't at the state average or below, we were awarded 0 points. Now, in discussing with the state, if that would be changed, could you have partial credit? Could we use a scale or a range? They said they were looking at it and they may change it. They may change it by next year, but there's nothing concrete in the works for that. So when you add up our points, as you see our scoring table, you can get 60 easy points. It is not possible to get 76 points without getting some of the mechanic defect rate or the driver defect rate points. So when you're at all or nothing, it means you're not going to pass. For preventative maintenance, we were awarded all 15 points. Conference and trainings, we had 6 points. We were for spring conference, and some of those conferences, I believe, up against a snow last year, had to make a choice. And we wanted to know if we could attend remotely or via Teams, and no one ever returned our phone call. So we did what we had to do in light of being essential personnel and going on with the show. County inventory, 5 points. Spare buses were worth 5 points. We were awarded 0 because we had an error in the number of buses that were reported. We had 122 buses reported instead of 105. When Mr. Chineri came on in July, he changed that. He had the bus fleet corrected to 105. You have to be between 15 and 30% in your spare bus fleet. So that has automatically been corrected. We're at 15% now with the number of spare buses that we have. So next year that will not be an issue, nor will conferences and training. Monthly mileage, which we turn in and we do that for reimbursement. That's at a 5, as is fleet data. And the passing, running the red survey, we have 5 points. There should be 10. And the reason for that was the survey was turned in a little late in the spring. So the maximum points available are 105, passing score being 76, and our score was 46. This means we need an action plan. So for our action plan, we're going to increase the number of PM, and when I say PM, it's preventative maintenance mechanics from 1 to 2, to ensure that buses are on a more frequent preventative maintenance schedule and that any defects are addressed swiftly. The foreman or coordinator of mechanics will check the PM mechanics work more frequently to ensure even more accuracy. The preventative maintenance mechanics will use a written checklist to ensure accuracy in their work. And we do have 2 vacant mechanics positions. We've had them for a couple of years. We're seeking qualified mechanics. We should have 6 mechanics, and we've been operating at 4 mechanics, which definitely, with that driving and everything, it affects the ability to create preventive maintenance schedules that are faster. And faster preventative maintenance schedules are better. The second thing in our rubric that we're going to do is to optimize scheduling, ensure that PM activities are scheduled at optimal times to minimize disruptions and maximize thoroughness. So in other words, it'll happen sort of midday, not around the bus runs where people are dropping wrenches to get on a bus. They're going to schedule those kind of in the middle section of that day. So buses should not receive red stickers, and a red sticker means you have a primary defect. That would be goal 1 of our next goal in the rubric. And goal 2 would be to reduce the overall average of driver defects from 1.24 to below 0.64. We gave a driver defect refresher training to improve the driver's knowledge of the areas that are their responsibility and report any issues that are not given to the mechanic team promptly. And that was held in August. One has been so far held in October. And it'll make the bus operators understand each specific item that falls under their responsibility and help us achieve our goals and provide feedback to prevent further driver defects on the buses. Communication will be improved, relay any issues to the mechanics and supervisors to facilitate efficient resolutions. And the preventative maintenance mechanics will provide written notification to drivers via checklist about any defects found during the PM process in their buses. Mr. Trineri will attend all required conferences and trainings. The next screen talks about stages for county support and accountability. So if one or more indicators don't meet standard, you diagnose and build structures to facilitate countywide improvement for the deficiencies, and review the county strategic plan to make sure it addresses that, and then monitor progress. The WVD just provides technical assistance at the request of the county. In stage 2, which would be further down the line, it's any indicator that does not meet standards and does not show improvement for 2 consecutive years. So again, you adjust the strategic plan to target deficiencies and monitor progress. And again, the WVDE provides necessary technical leadership. Stage 3 would be intensive support. This is if the standards aren't met for 3 consecutive years. Again, adjust a strategic plan based on lack of improvement in stage 2, monitor progress, and report progress to the Office of Accountability quarterly. WVDE again provides technical assistance, monitors progress, makes annual recommendations to the WVDE, including possible non-approval status. So our steps taken to date. The efficiency indicator for spare buses, as I noted, that has been corrected. So our percentage meets the requirement. I'm sorry, it's at 16%, and it is between the 15 and the 30. Illegal passing surveys will be completed and turned in on time. Training opportunities have occurred for the bus driver defects. Job postings are posted and renewed in search of bus operators, aides, and particularly the mechanics that we've been searching for. There are still shortages despite frequent and rigorous recruitment efforts. As I said, the office staff and mechanics are on buses daily, and we are short the 2 mechanics in our shop. Our action plan will be implemented and will be progress monitored by JCS transportation staff and myself. So our next steps, the plan is implemented. It is and will be progress monitored. We'll seek WVDE technical support, and indicators will be measured at the end of this year.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. This action plan, is it required by the state?
It is. We asked if they had a template. They do not. We have turned it into the state, and the state has just indicated that they received it.
And is this the first time the transportation department has been part of this plan? This first.
It is, yes.
When you said that we're in a group with Hardy and Morgan County, Wouldn't we also be with Berkeley County?
Actually, no.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, our inspector not only inspected Jefferson last year, but Berkeley, Morgan, Preston, Hampshire, Tucker, Marion, Randolph, Upshur, Pendleton, Grant, Mineral, Hardy, and the Deaf and Blind School.
So one plan is to attend all conferences. What if there's a snowstorm again?
Well, again, I'll reach out to the director. I believe it was in early March that occurred last year. So prior to that, Mr. Trenary and I will reach out and see if we can get a definitive answer. That question still remains in the void as to whether or not you can attend remotely. So we'll find out if he makes the trek or if he can attend remotely.
But wouldn't you want to ask that now?
That's what I mean.
To
We'll
be
ask that now.
Part of, okay.
Ms. White, would you remind the board, I didn't hear you mention, how many counties did not meet the sufficiency indicator for transportation?
65%. And big counties have a more difficult time in reaching the average because they have more buses and cannot PM as frequently, particularly if they're driving buses as a smaller county can. When you have 28 buses, you can roll through those frequently.
So Ms. White, out of Monongalia, Kanawha, Berkeley, those three, did any of those three pass?
Well, I can tell you that I hate to speak about that in public, but I can say that if you were bigger in the Panhandle, likely no.
Okay, yeah, I just asked because I think you're right. If we do athletics by the size of your amount of students, it makes zero sense that we don't do it for other things. So I don't know why we would have been grouped with.
I would say
smaller
Jefferson's
counties.
statistically consistent with big counties, with the other big county in the Panhandle.
Okay, so how can we help too as a board then? Because I do agree that that is frankly an ignorant policy and needs a change. Now, do I think it's great that they're finally going to add transportation as part of that? Yes, because everything that the county does should be right, should be done and looked at for efficiency. But is it the West Virginia Department of Education Transportation Office? Is it legislature that would need to change that policy?
It's not
Does it directly
legislature.
come from that?
It is the Office of Accountability at the West Virginia Department of Ed.
Because I certainly don't mind making
And
a phone call.
I would say that transportation sort of set their own factors. The West Virginia Department of Ed Transportation had a big say in how they set these factors. I'm just concerned with points that are all or nothing, and then you can't pass without those points. It's not a true reflection of how hard our mechanics work and how many hours they work. We have them working, 10 or 12 hours a day
Well,
in
and I
order to
think
get
I
bus
do
runs
remember,
and
to your point and to the work that has been done, when you took the job as operations, I do believe that number that is now under 1 was well above 1 or 2. And it was a number that you all worked very hard to bring below 1 for defects so that we were within compliance.
we did, and they were number 3. And it's hard to say that you go from number 3. And the reason we could never get to 1 is because at the time, I think we were competing with a county that had 9 buses, maybe a dozen, and you just can't compete with that. It's when you have a larger scale county, you just can't compete with someone who has a small fleet.
Right, okay, so that makes sense. And then as far as cleaning time, I do remember even when we built the bus garage, trying to build the bay where they could wash buses, I remember that it had been an issue even for timing wise, right? If I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, bus drivers have their routes, but I'm not sure they actually get paid, if you will, to take the time to clean their buses. It's kind of on their own time.
You get paid a pre-trip and a post-trip. So the kind of things that we're seeing, like one of the defects is sweeping your bus. Certainly during your pre or post-trip, you have time to sweep your bus. Some of the defects include decorating your bus. The state bus inspectors, and rightly so, are very strict about being able to have a bus that's just a bus. They don't want any extra decoration, any distraction. So I know that we've had some defects like that. If there's a broom on your bus, it is a defect, and you have to keep the broom off your bus during runs. You're not allowed to keep it there. You sweep the bus, you take the broom off your bus. So if you have a broom on your bus, that's a defect. So the defects I'm naming are the top defects that we keep seeing over and over. And lastly, an aerosol can. If you have any type of aerosol can, so if you've been cleaning your bus, you don't remove your aerosol can, that's a defect. And the inspector looks for these things.
So if a bus driver gets on a bus and has a backpack of their own personal items, does the inspector go through the backpack? So if there's an aerosol can possibly in the backpack, would that be a defect for us? I mean, I'm asking that because I'm just trying to think of
Any
some.
aerosol can that he would discover. I'm not suggesting he goes through personal items. Bus drivers take personal items as they come and go. They take the personal items with them. So
Yeah.
personal items aren't an issue, but this would be for cleaning purposes. And let's just say you threw it in a glove box and you forgot, or you threw it, you know, over on the side, there's a compartment, or you threw it in there. That will be looked through, and yes, that would be a defect. So these are the top 4 defects that I've just named.
So it does seem to me that, again, we can clean up some of those other little ones as though you've already done, but if we don't address being judged against the smaller counties and losing 50 points,
Yes. I'm suggesting it should be a range or a scale.
so
I don't feel like any points are all or nothing based on an average. I think that there should be a bar.
And then, I mean, to my thought is, and I know I've said this before, but I would just say, I know that looking at efficiency for bus routes and things like that, you know, I've said it 1,000 times. But I think the last time that we actually did that was when it was basically forced because we had a redistricting based on a school build years and years and years ago.
Right.
When, you know, I do think that it should be more of a yearly thing.
We
where-
did partially look at that and made some adjustments last year. We're exploring looking at that again. It is being studied right now so that we can take a look at what makes sense, what can we adjust, and how can we make it better.
Okay, yeah, I just think basically every year students.
We've talked about that too, Ms. Ogden, in that we do it internally every year. And if changes need to be made, that's when we'll report out to you. And I suspect that later this year, we may well do that.
Now, can a change be made on a bus for, is it the same as classrooms, like, or other job descriptions where if it's 50% of the route?
Up to 49% could be changed, yes.
Okay.
But, you know, we've had some unique challenges since COVID, and a lot of bus driver shortages. The routes we have now have lended themselves to being blended. So if we are short drivers on any given day, the reason we don't miss routes is because we blend a route and we add a few students to it. The drivers are very good, as are our supervisors, in knowing where they can drop in and pick up a few students so that no child misses a bus, so that every child is to school on time, et cetera. So it has been to our benefit to keep the routes as they are up until this point, as we've seen driver shortages, just so that we can not miss any routes. So I guess the trick will be, can we now create more routes or adjust routes so that it doesn't upset that apple cart and we don't miss any bus runs? Because it's very important to us in operations that we get every child delivered to school every day that rides the bus.
And I think we did look to hire 2 people. I'm assuming we still have those positions, but we had like 2 standby bus drivers that would do whatever route was missing.
Did, and we still have those positions. Unfortunately, it's not enough. And we're seeing that we hire a handful on and then we lose a couple. So it's been a push and a pull in that when we hire some, we also lose some. You have to consider too, these are CDL licensed individuals. So if they have, broken arm, if they have something that impacts their health and they have a medical excuse until a doctor says that they're able to drive with their CDLs again, they cannot rejoin us at work. So often we have absences due to those kinds of issues too.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Upson, I have just one comment if you don't mind.
Ma'am.
Mrs. White, you've alluded to these several different pieces, but I think we really need to put these together. That number one, you're working with 2/3 of the mechanics that you're supposed to be working with. Number two, you have a bus driver shortage and those mechanics are constantly being pulled to actually run bus routes, not fix buses, and as well as office staff. And then number three, I think you guys deserve bonus points on this whole survey thing for not missing routes or closing down routes, because as far as I'm aware, we have not had to not pick up any children over the past, forever. So kudos to your department for being able to do that and getting the kids to school safely. And, hopefully you can adjust your numbers a little bit to get them to where the state, thinks they need to be. But, I appreciate everything that your department does, supporting each other and pulling together and, making it work.
All credit to them. They do a phenomenal job. They do.
I agree. Kudos to you and your department because you do an excellent job. The numbers here, we might not agree with them, but you do an excellent job throughout the county. So thank you.
Any other discussion? Thank you again for the transparency and putting the action plan together.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, next up is unfinished business, discussion and possible action on Neola policy updates for August 2025 first batch.
Yes, at the last meeting, you approved these policies. Mostly they were revisions, replacements, technical corrections. A couple of policies were rescinded. Those were placed out for public comment 2 weeks ago and no comments were received. So our request this evening is that these be approved.
Is there a motion to approve the Neola policy updates for August 2025 first batch and in accordance with the following policy numbers: 0142, 0142.3, 0147, 1422, 1617, 1623, 1662, 2260.01, 2266, 3120, 3120.12, 3122, 3122.02, 3123, 3217, 3242.05, 3362, 4120, 4120.01, 4120.12, 4122, 4122.02, 4123, 4162, 4217, 4362, 5772, and 7217.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Thank you, Ms. Bratton. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Ogden. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. It's 0142.3 and it's on C. Dr. Bishop, can you explain the State Board of Ed shall appoint a committee named the County Board Member Training Standards Review Committee, whose members shall include the chair of the Senate Committee on Education? Do you see it? Page 4.
Yes, I see that.
Can you explain that?
So this would be the State Board of Ed would actually appoint a committee for the County Board Training Standards Review Committee. So as they consider the types of training that board members might need for the coming year, of course, you have to achieve a certain number of hours every year, that committee would include someone from the legislature, primarily the chair of the Senate Committee on Education and the chair of the House Committee on Education, or their designees. They'll be on the committee, but they will be non-voting members. So the Board of Ed will have a committee. Two members of that committee will be one from the House, one from the Senate. They will participate in determining what types of training or how many hours of training you might need for the coming year. And, but they will not be voting members. They would just provide some guidance.
I'm trying to understand why it's in here for,
That's part of the code.
um,
It's a change based on code of West Virginia. There are only legal references there. So all of those legal references on page 3, it would be reflected in one of those legal references. So that was newly added.
I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to be there.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Neola policy updates for August 2025, first batch in accordance with the following policy numbers: 0142, 0142.3, 0147, 1422, 1617, 1623, 1662, 2260, 2260.01, 2260, 3120, 3120.12, 3122, 3122.02, 3123, 3217, 3242.05, 3360, 4120.2.01, 4120.12, 4122, 4123, 4162, 4217, 4362, 5772, 7217. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Motion passes. There is no new business at this time. So next up would be board member comments and committee reports. Sorry, Dr. Joy.
Okay. Let's see, there was several Washington High School and Jefferson High School students were awarded the Youth Advocate and Community Service Awards. Jeremiah and Braden Brown, Sophia Herrera and Isabella Herrera, and Malik Bratton also received the Leadership Award. There was a NAACP annual Freedom Fund banquet, the 62nd annual Freedom Fund banquet, and Malik Bratton recited a poem by Amanda Gorman, The Hills We Climb. So we were happy that some of our students attended and were recognized. I wanted to let people be aware of the direct admissions program that Jefferson County Schools has with Shepherd University. Students with a 2.5 GPA or higher are automatically accepted to Shepherd. This removes many barriers, waives fees, opens doors to higher ed. And the first 11 students from Washington, can try to say their names. Austin Brown, Rebecca Klein, Peyton Cunningham, Sven Dupree, Isabella Johnson, Morgan Kaiser, Amber Lowe, and Miana Longerbeam. Lakin McGinnis, Aiden Samanchko, and Brisha Sanchez are our first students participating in that program. I did want to ask about AP fees. That's not something I was made aware of until tonight. So maybe Dr. Bishop can address that somehow.
Yep. We'll provide you an update on that at the next meeting.
Let's see. I wanted to thank the men in the back doing the lighting. It was perfect tonight. Thank you. I could see, and thank you. Then I wanted to, there was one more, something that came up. Was there supposed to be a town hall that the speaker asked about at Blue Ridge that Is that
I know
something
that
happening?
there was a mention of a town hall. It was earlier in the school year, right at the start of the year.
Okay, so they're
That
not
meeting did
meeting
not
for
occur.
something.
That meeting did not occur.
Is it going to, or
I have not had any further conversation with Ms. Terry about that.
is there a plan or, because I mean.
A plan for,
To address, like, how will the comments be addressed? The citizens' comments?
I've had some email follow up with with different folks along the way. Some of this might not be suitable discussion for an open session. So it might have to be considered during a closed or executive session to have some
It just
discussion.
sounded like a good idea. I got the impression that there was some town hall that people were waiting for and that they were going to explain everything, but that's not.
That was discussed earlier in the year. I think it was maybe early September, right after the start of the school year, but that meeting did not occur.
Okay. And then I just want to wish everybody that celebrates Halloween, happy Halloween and Day of the Dead and Hallows Eve. Anyway, that's it. Okay, happy birthday to Carmen Bratton this week. When is your birthday?
Thursday.
Thursday is her birthday. Happy birthday, Carmen.
Thank you. I would like to congratulate Washington High School's girls and boys soccer teams. They both made the playoffs. The playoffs started on 10/25, so good luck to both. Our EPAC cheer competition was held on 10/20. Congratulations to all the cheerleaders that competed in that. Congratulations to Dr. Donna Joy. She completed the Marine Corps Marathon running 26.2 miles. That's congratulations. She did that yesterday.
Thank you. Ms. Ogden?
Just say two things. Congratulations to, I'll follow up what Ms. Bratton said to Jefferson High School cheerleaders for winning that EPAC championship and it's always a good time and a great thing to happen when you have both homecomings and you have no issues, everyone's home safe and can enjoy that time. So very exciting to see all the students at both schools get to have those this year and that, we've gotten through those things and everyone is able to continue to celebrate. So that's always a wonderful, wonderful thing to happen. And it was great to see so many families share, all those great memories. So looking forward to the holiday time as well. And I hope everybody gets time to enjoy their families during this time.
Thank you, Ms. Ogden. Madam President?
The only thing I have is just a Rumsey update that next year they're going to be adding additional classes. So they'll double the number of kids that can participate in some of the classes. So that's definitely a positive move in the right direction. So that's the only update I have for this evening.
Thank you. Next up is superintendent's comments.
I just have 3 items this evening. One is I've had some conversation with Mrs. Group at Jefferson and with Ms. Payne at Shepherdstown Elementary about a walkthrough for our Shepherdstown Elementary former Shepherdstown Elementary students who now attend Jefferson. With the closing of the current Shepherdstown and the move to the new building in January, Ms. Group and Ms. Payne are going to work together so that the students have an opportunity to visit the current Shepherdstown one last time. I do have a copy of a Jefferson County Commission resolution recognizing the ribbon cutting of the Ranson Institute for Secondary Ed, or RISE, the former Ranson Elementary School, and primarily thanking us and recognizing the partnership with the County Commission and Jefferson County Schools in the 911 Emergency Communications Program. So meeting a community need while educating our students in a different type of CTE program. And finally, our CTE accountability report was received from the state last week. Jefferson County met the criteria. We did have a score of 82 out of a possible 100 points. So the target was 75. So we actually met the indicators for career tech ed for the past year. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. There's no executive session for tonight. So it is 7:07. Meeting is adjourned.